Here we go with chapter 15. Hake, again, these things. Mylone, he's in the ablative. Diurtine, this is an adjective meaning long-lasting. And here's the other part of the ablative. Sermokinante, comes from a deponent, sermocor or something, which means chatting or talking. So these things, with Milo talking for a long time, in Gemescaman, I was groaning Tacitus, so silently I was groaning. Non mediocritas kenzabam mihi. So I was burning at myself, I was enraged at myself, not mediocrely, not middlingly. Quod, because ultra inductor, of my own accord, I have inducted a series of inopportunam fabulam, of stories which are a bit out of place, you might want to say, or you probably didn't want to hear them, and a partem bonum, and a good part, genitive, of vespers of the evening, amiteram. That's the infinitive with the M put on the end there, so it's the imperfect subjunctive. So I'd lost a good part of the evening, ius gratissimum fructum, and it's the most welcomed fruit of the evening, basically, in these inopportune stories. So the qui there is linking the ius, so it's the evening's good fruit that was I lost. Et tandem, and at last, deniqui, finally, devorato puru, having eaten my shame. We know it's him because AIO means it's him doing it, it's first person. I said to Milo, Ferat suem diaphanes illi, so Diaphanes, he can bear his own fortunam, his own fate, even you want to say, and the spolia popularum again, rosums again, and the spoils of the people again. So, and he can confer it, contrasting it with that ferat there. You can confer these parata equally to the in the mare and to the terre, to the sea and the land. Mihi viro, take viros, but for me, the fatigionis yesterday, that's yesterday's fatigue, etiam nunc, even now, sorcio. So he feels like he's wounded even from yesterday's fatigue, of weariness. So da, that's the imperative. Give veniam, give a pardon, which can also be referred to that mihi. Concedam cubitum. So he's conceding off to his cubitum, his bedroom, with this comparative maturius, rather more earlier than, or hastily than it was expected. Et cum dicto, and when this was said, facesso, it's got a couple of meanings, usually means I was off, and he left, and contendo, so he hurried off, this is the accusative, to mem cubiculum, it's the first person, so with this said, I set off, and I hastened off to my bedroom, at Quilic, and there, in that bedroom, de prehendo, he seized, or he might have just seized it with his eyes, he might have just seen it, and e polarum dispositionis satis consinius. So means it's been placed there, dispositioned. Satis means it's enough, which is consines, which is like fitting of a feast, of an apalum. So there, set out in his bedroom, was satisfactorily stuffed for a nice little banquet. Nam, for, there's an explanation. Et, also, puris, plural, ablative or dative, probably might be dative. For the boys, extra lemon outside of the doorway, credo, I believe, or I think, ut that, so they could be ablegorentored, they could be separated. From our genitus, this is chattering and talking, arbitro as a witness of the nighttime talking. So for the boys outside the door, I believe, so that they would be separated and there wouldn't be any witness to our nighttime talking. On the humai, it's a female in the second declension. On the ground, quam procol, as far away, distratum, separately as it could be. Et grabulato means sit. Okay, so there's a place prepared for the boys outside the door on the ground, as far away as it could be. And adstit, and at present, or at where he is, there's these little cotties grabatulum. There was a mensula kene, a little table of food, totius honestas reliquis tolerans. So it's bearing or supporting all the leftover food, the honest amount of food that was left over, and boni chalices. These are cups, good cups. Now infuso, now they were filled up, lattice with a liquid. Semi-pleni means they're half full. Solem temperum sustinentes. So all that they left it to be done was that they should alone be tempered to the right mixture of wine and water, I guess they mix it with. And a laguna, this is like a big pouring flask or something, yuxta next to it. Diasquito means it's been carved out, and its orifice, it's where you pour out of the laguna, out of the flask, it's got a little mouth or a lip casing carved into it for pouring. Patescans, so it would open up. Faculus hortu, so when you draw it out, it comes out rather easily. A process, I think there's absolutely a thing you have before a dinner of his gladiatorial battle of Venus. His love-making would be his Venus. So all that little section, it's all about the boys being placed outside the door so they couldn't hear. There's a little table with the leftover food, cups half full of wine, just need to be tempered, and a nice little flask for pouring it out, and he was ready for lovemaking. Okay, 16, commodum. I'll take that as just again. I just cubaverumed. I just lay down because they eat lying down. I've tried that. I get chocolate all over myself, so it's probably not the best thing to do. And okay, look, my photos, yam domina cubitum redita. She's just put her domina, her mistress, into the bedroom, and looks like she's come back, and she's later. She's happy. Proximat, she's standing near him. Rose asserta, this is like a sewing where they tie roses together and make little bouquets or even put them in their hair. And rosa saluta, these are loose roses in sinu, in a lap or in a bosom, and it's in the ablative tuberante and swelling. So the loose roses are swelling for some reason. Ac me pressum, and so looks like she's pressing up against him. Diosculato, she's kissed him, and because you've got a lot of these written like that. And revincto, so he's tied up, he's bound with little garlands, coronas, like a circle of the flowers. So she's come up to him, kissed him, held him tight, put some flowers around him, and sperso means poured out them with these flowers, florae. Pers usually means thoroughly. It probably doesn't mean much here. So he's kissed, he's been tied up with some flowers and sprinkled with flowers. And ad ripet, she snatched away a pocula, the cup, and de super, from above, she injected aqua calida, some warm water, and then she porrigated, she stretched it out, and bibam, I drank. And modice priusquam, and a modest little bit prior to, I exorbitanum the lot, so the totem lot. So a little prior to when he's absorbed or drank in the totem, the whole lot, she clemently, she calmly or softly invaded him, came in even closer, and relictum polulatum, okay, so she's minuting, she's diminishing what was relictum, what was left, little by little, labellus with her lips, and respicienzing at me. So she was looking at me while she was drinking this last little bit. And here, sorbelat, she's that's another word for drinking. So exorbiting is drinking, and sorbelating, and dulcida, she's sweetly drinking the last little bit. Sequens, so following, and tertium, so it looks a second time and a third time into nos between us. Vicissa means in turn. Infrequently, sometimes means crowded, probably does mean frequently here, we alternated the poculum, the cup. When I yam vino, when I now with wine was madens, which means I was soaked in wine, not on his clothes, in his gullet, I'm guessing. His spirit was full of wine. And nec animo tantum verum, and the animo is probably his heart or even his desire or his mind. Tantum usually means only, merely, and then etiam corpus, so corpora ipsa. So it looks like in his heart and in his body itself, to libidem inquis, his unrest towards his lust, eloquent in general, adverb, and he's petulant, he's really agitated, and yam sorkis, now he was wounded for it. Paulispa, another word for little by little. Looks like he has remoted his lacenia, so this is his robe has been removed, fine, ending at his inguinam, which is his loins. Looks like I was demonstrating my impatientem of Venus. So now he's demonstrating his impatience to get to the Venerus, which is the lovemaking, and the dative is to Photis. He was impatient, so he undressed and showed his naked bits of how much he wanted it. Miserere, this is an imperative. Take pity, inquam, I said, and some veni. It's another imperative. Come and bring help, maturius, rather hastily. Nam, 4, ut vides, as you see. The prolio, which is a battle, which nobis, he's probably could be for himself or for both of them, which you have indexed. You've declared a war without a fatalior officer, without some herald doing his duty. So it's figuratively. Now, yam, proximante, vehementa intentus. So he's talking about himself here with the intentus. So he's intent, vehemently intent, with the closeness of this coming battle. When the first sagittam, the primam, the first arrow of savage Cupid, Savi Cupidinus, ex cepi, I've received it. It's dilapsem, it's basically slipped away in imma praecordium here, into the depth of my heart, into his chest. This arrow of savage Cupid has been received. Meum arcum, my bow, tentendi. This must be a reduplicated perfect. So I've stretched out my own bow, and itself is vigorate. It's very vigorous. In orpido, this would be the adverb. So he's excessively formidable. And so he has I have excessive dread, and it's a verb of fearing, that the nervous, that's the string of the bow, will rumpeter, will break by my nimitate, by my excess of rigor. He's so hard that he thinks his bow is going to break. Almost done. Said, but ut morem, as is the way, or mihi to me, or it's his habit, his custom. Gesseris plenius. He's asking her, she's the second person, or the S there, do something plenius, more further. Laxa looks imperative. Loosen your crinem, which is your hair or your locks, into effusum, so that they're loose and dangling down. And undanta, in the way of waves, ide, that's probably another imperative. Produce your flowing hair in a complexus. So embrace him with your flowing hair, amabilis, in a loving way. Might as well put a daily dictionary of some word here. Okay, so here's the word we had early on, diascio, commanding get the better of, but here it was hewing out of the laguna of the flask, cut and shape. It's only 2 or 3 citations. Apuleius is pretty famous for his use. I might even look up undata, or whatever that word was. Undanta, should be wave-like or something. Undanta, ancient Greek. From undu, doesn't really say much about it. Charles Lewis and Short. Unda, yeah, it's something to do with waves. Wave-like. Okay, that'll do for the day.